Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Natalia, and today I want to do the mid-year book tag. Let's just ignore the fact that it's like the middle of August. I've been planning to film this video for quite some time. I don't know, I just kept postponing it, and I was actually going to film it last week, and then I suddenly got a cold sore, so I needed to wait for that to get better. But I'm finally here doing this tag. I'm pretty sure I did it last year as well. I just think it's like a really fun tag to like reflect on all the books that you've been reading this year so far. So I think let's get into it. So the first question is best book you've read so far in 2024. So the first book that just came to my mind was A Study in Drowning. I think it might be the best one I've read this year. I don't know, I loved it so much. I felt like the atmosphere was so eerie and mysterious. It's kind of like a blend of fantasy and mystery and dark academia. I really loved the main characters, and I was just really mesmerized by this book. So yes, I can definitely recommend this one. Okay, the next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2024, and that without a doubt is Ruthless Vows. It is a sequel to Divine Rivals. This book destroyed me. I was bawling my eyes out at the end of this book. I love it so much. I love literally so many of the characters. I love this world, and the love story is really so precious. Like, I love everything about this book. It is definitely a really strong sequel and the best one that I've read this year. Next question, new releases you haven't read but want to. So I have like a few releases that I want to read. Maybe I will mention just like two. So the first one that sounds really interesting is called A Fate Inked in Blood, and it is a Norse-inspired fantasy romance. So it sounds really interesting. Another one I want to read is like a mystery called How to Solve Your Own Murder. Obviously, just the title itself is very intriguing. It tells the story of a woman who spends her entire life trying to prevent her foretold murder, but she actually fails to do that, and after she actually ends up dead, it is up to her great niece to catch the killer. So it sounds really intriguing. There's a few more books that I want to read, but I don't want to make this video too long, so let's get to the next question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I actually had to do some research in order to answer this question. I don't know, I guess I haven't been that interested in like releases for the next half of the year, but I did find two books that I ended up adding to my TBR. So the first book that caught my interest is An Academy for Liars, and it's set to be released on September 17, and it is like a gothic infused fantasy novel about this school of magic, and our protagonist is going to like start uncovering some secrets. It is actually an adult novel, not young adult, so it might be a little dark. I don't know, we'll see. It sounds really interesting. And the second book that caught my attention is called As in Ruins, and well, definitely the cover is very interesting and definitely caught my eye. It is like a historical fantasy romance, so definitely I will be waiting for these two books to come out. Oh, and I forgot to mention As in Ruins is set to come out on the 3rd of September, so really soon. Okay, next question. Biggest disappointment. I decided to put two books in here. The first one is called The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I didn't really know what to expect going into this book, but I definitely ended up being pretty disappointed. Like, it started off like really interesting. I was pretty engaged. I thought the mystery was chilling, the atmosphere was eerie and all of that, and then like the big reveal happened, the big plot twist, and I like instantly lost all my interest because I thought it was so ludicrous, and I was like, I cannot believe that I've come all this way for the plot to turn out like this. I don't know, I was pretty disappointed. It's very, very specific type of thriller that I feel like only some people will like, and I ended up not liking it. So yeah, that was definitely a disappointment. The second book that also disappointed me was actually Belladonna. Now I would say I didn't hate it as much as I hated The House Across the Lake. I still found this book to have some strong points, but I think I was disappointed because I had like such high expectations. I thought this could actually be a 5-star read, and it ended up being like 3.5 stars. I think at first I gave it 4, but then I lowered it because I just kept thinking about how disappointed I was by this book, and why I felt like the mystery aspect was pretty interesting. I really didn't care for the characters. There is a character of Death in this book, but I felt like he was so bland and uninteresting. Like, come on, he's Death. Like, he should be like scary, and he should definitely have like more personality to him. I felt like he was so like soft and just like not what I was expecting, and like the romance aspect was also really strange. I felt like they went from hating each other to loving each other in like an instant. Like, they really hated each other with passion, and suddenly they started feeling attracted to each other. The things that he was saying to her just were so awkward and cringy. I think it just didn't really work for me. The chemistry was lacking. I didn't really like the characters. I mean, the mystery and like the entire concept of the book is actually really interesting because the protagonist is actually someone who cannot die, and she can also see death. I think that is very interesting. But I think the execution was not that great, and yeah, I ended up feeling quite disappointed with this one. Okay, on the contrary, next question is a book that was the biggest surprise to me, and I think I want to say The Sundown Motel. So again, I was not really sure what to expect from this book. It is like a mystery thriller, and I ended up really, really enjoying it. I thought it was really, really creepy and scary, and I really liked many of the characters. I liked the mystery aspect, and I just ended up having so much fun reading it. So I think, yeah, I was quite surprised by how much I enjoyed it actually. Next question, favorite new author, debut or new to you? So I was actually not sure what to answer because I looked at the books that I've read this year, and like most of them are authors that I've already read before, or if it was a new author to me, I just didn't like the book. But there was one exception, and that exception is Study in Drowning. So it is my first book that I read by Ava Reid, and like I said, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I guess the answer to this question is going to be Ava Reid, and I definitely will be checking out more of her books to see what I think of them. So far, I've only read this one, and I really, really enjoyed it. But yeah, it's hard to tell if she's my favorite author because I think I need to read at least a few more books to be able to tell that. So next, newest fictional crush. Oh my god, I mentioned A Study in Drowning so much in this video, but it's coming again because it says like newest fictional crush, and Preston from A Study in Drowning is definitely my newest fictional crush. I would also say Roman from Ruthless Vows, but he's not my newest crush because he was already my crush in Divine Rivals. So if we're talking about my newest crush, Preston from Study in Drowning. Okay, and the next question. This is the last time is it the last time? I'm not sure. I hope it's the last time I'm mentioning a study in drowning. But the next question is newest favorite character. And the first character that came to my mind is Effie from A Study in Drowning. I don't know, I just found her to be so like relatable, and I really loved to see the growth that she experienced, like from when we first meet her to, you know, the end of the book. I don't know, I just really liked her, and I felt like I could relate to her a lot, to like her being like anxious and kind of socially awkward, and just seeing her grow and overcome her fears and all of that. I just really enjoyed that. Yeah, I really liked her as a narrator. So Effie from Study in Drowning, definitely one of my favorite newest characters. Next, a book that made you cry. So I already talked about it. The book is Ruthless Vows. This was the only book that made me cry this year, so I cannot really answer with any other book, so I'm mentioning this one again. I generally don't think I cry that often while reading, but maybe I just don't really read super emotional books very often. So that's why. So that was the book that made me cry. And the next question is a book that made you happy. And I think for this one I have to say The 7 Year Slip by Ashley Poston. It's a romance book with magical realism in it. It's about kind of like time traveling sort of thing. It's definitely, I mean, it is a little bit emotional, especially because our protagonist is grieving the loss of her aunt. So it can be a little bit sad. But I think like the romance itself definitely did make me smile, and it definitely made me happy. So that's why I chose this book. The most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. And by beautiful book, I believe they mean like a beautiful cover. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I have to say A Study in Drowning. But I mean, look at this cover. Like, it's just so beautiful, and it really gives off the atmosphere of the book. Like, I could stare at this cover all day. Literally the prettiest cover I own. Okay, next, books you need to read by the end of the year. Okay, so definitely I need to read The Naturals. I've been really intrigued by this series. It's by the same author that wrote The Inheritance Games, which I really enjoyed. And yeah, this one sounds really interesting. It's about like this group of teenagers that are recruited by the FBI because they have some special gifts, and you know, they're trying to like solve some cold cases, but they actually end up being entangled in some like ongoing case. Another book that is really high on my TBR is Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. I've heard some great things about this book. It's like a historical fantasy romance about this girl who was cursed to live with half a soul. Can't wait to read it. Okay, and the last question is favorite book to movie adaptation. For that, I don't actually have an answer because I believe I have not watched any book to movie adaptation this year. I don't know, I don't watch movies that often anyway. So let's just skip that question. And that was actually the last question. So yes, I did like a little review of the books that I've read this year, you know, the ones that I liked, the ones that I didn't like so much. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.